No, I'm really just
Hello, welcome to the Kimberly Chronicles. Hope you guys are having like an amazing day. I'm having an okay day. I'm always tired, always sleepy. But I decided today that I would create another video. I always tell you every video that I'm making is something dealing with my life, maybe past, present, and future. And today I wanted to make a video about PCSing. Yes, for all my military spouses. Because on my other channel, mostly I notice a lot of military spouse watches my videos on that one, but I have my new one here. So I'm going to post about some of my experience here. And today I wanted to make a video on the struggles of going through a PCS. Yes. Um, This is for people who have been through PCSs already, or the people who has not just yet and maybe experienced it for the first time. Just some of my experiences. Maybe I can give you some facts on what to do beforehand, what not to do. I have learned a lot in the last few years of being a military spouse, and I'm hoping some of this information that I give you can be helpful. So let's get started with the video. So, as you guys know, watching on my other videos, of course, I have PCSed. I have had some smooth PCSs and I have had some horrible PCSs. My first PCS to Fort Bragg was not that bad at all. We were able to pack up our stuff in a U-Haul and drive 7 hours from Mississippi to North Carolina. Granted, we did get pulled over in South Carolina. And that guy was super nice to me because apparently I was tailgating behind my ex husband at the time, driving the U Haul. But it was like my first time ever driving like in two other states. So, yes, I was tailgating right behind him. And of course, he was going to pull me over and give me a ticket. But my oldest child at the time, Peyton, decided she wanted to get out of the car seat. So the guy actually did me a favor. He gave me a $25 ticket for her getting out of her car seat, and he gave me a $25 ticket for tailgating. So I'm thankful it was just $50 that came out of my pocket from that. But it wasn't bad at all. We had the 7 hour drive to North Carolina. We were able to get a house fairly quickly. So it was not bad at all. Um, we were, of course, poor because my ex husband was a private. So we were poor, but we weren't like super duper poor, but we were poor. Like super duper poor is like another thing. But yeah, we were still poor. We still were able to, we had one car, had a little, 98 Honda Accord. And of course, I drove that there. So it really wasn't that bad PCS in there. Um, the next time I ever PCSed again was moving from North Carolina to Alabama. And that one actually was not that bad either. We got the U-Haul. We drove my car at the time. Shannon didn't have a car, only I had a car. So he drove the U-Haul and I drove the car with my mom and my daughter Erin to Alabama. And that was of course a 7 hour drive. And it was not bad. Actually, I mixed up the times. From North Carolina to Alabama, it was a 7 hour drive. From Mississippi to North Carolina was a 10 hour drive. I can't believe I made that drive with two small kids back then, but I did. But yeah, we drove, me and Shannon and my mom and my daughter Erin, to Alabama. It's a 7 hour drive. So actually it was not that bad. We were able to pack our stuff ourselves, unpack our stuff ourselves. Now, the super bad PCSs. Moving from state to state is actually not that bad in the lower 48. I mean, when I say moving from state to state. Now, I don't know how it would be if I we were stationed in Georgia and then we had to like move to Washington DC, or I mean, well, not Washington, sorry, like New York. I don't know what I want to drive to New York. I don't know what I want to drive to California. Something like I don't think I would want to do that with children. I think I would fly. But I feel like personally my limit would be 10 hours because I've done 10 hours before. So I think 10 hours driving for PCSing is fine. You can do that. But when you get something that's kind of like Alaska, I would never drive that. Now, I do know people that have done that and they drove, and it's taken them days to get there. I personally would never do it. And I will tell you this, that was probably the worst PCS of my life. A CONUS will always be the worst PCS in history for me. I will never want to do a CONUS ever again. The only way I would ever PCS and do a CONUS again is if I all my children were like not in the house, like they were adults. And my husband was still in the army, and all my kids were adults and grown and on their own, and it was just me and him. I would definitely do a CONUS because I would just have to worry about me and him. I would never do a CONUS again. The fact that we had to ship our vehicle ahead of time. First of all, I had to sell my car, and then we had to ship our truck like I think 2 weeks ahead of time, and then pay out money for a rental to have while we were still here. And then the amount of money we spent on hotels in a hotel for a freaking month. And then on top of that, once we got to Alaska, you got to spend extra money on a car for a rental because you got to wait when you get there for your car to be shipped there. That was like the worst. PCSing somewhere far where you have to actually spend money on car rentals. PCSing somewhere far where you got to spend money on car rentals and hotels are literally the worst. It is the worst thing ever. The amount of money that you spend and you waste on food, hotels, rental cars. It's like an extra bill. And the army don't give you enough money to pretty much afford that stuff. The amount of loans that we had to get when we left Alaska to come here because the savings was already depleted before we left, paying for hotels and car rentals. Same thing going there. It depleted the savings going there. This had to be a CONUS probably was the worst experience of my life. I don't care that it was Alaska. Alaska was beautiful. I met the amazing people there, but the financial hold it put us on, PCS in general, kind of puts you in a miniature hold anyway, because you're sitting up here having to you're basically like getting rid of the majority of stuff so you won't have to travel with so much stuff, and then you got to go to a new place. You're spending money on hotels, you're spending money on food, and it's even worse when you have a family. Like it's different when it's just you and your spouse, but when you have children involved or like animals, that's even more money that you're putting out. But when it's like an Aconus or somewhere that's really, really far, it's like you're double in the hole. This move to Alaska and from Alaska have probably been the worst experience I've had dealing with PCSing in my whole entire life. I never want to go to Conus ever again because of the experience. We were so broke coming into Alaska and the amount of debt it caused us to be in. My husband owed $10,000 on his GCI card. GTC card. He owed $10,000 on his GTC card when we got to Alaska. He spent over a year and a half paying it off because what they were doing, the extra cola that you get when you're doing a CONUS, they were taking the cola and paying off the GTC card. And he was basically getting paid the same amount he was getting paid at Fort Benning in Alaska. And Alaska costs way more money than living in Georgia or Alabama. Alaska is way more expensive. So while I was there, I had to end up getting a job to help with the bills because it was literally just that bad. And then you fast forward 3 years later, and it's time to move again. And then we run in kind of the same kind of hole because he didn't get this time he didn't even get his GTC card in time for us to fly out because apparently how you were supposed to get it this time around, the rules or something had changed. So it was late. We had to get a loan just to fly out of Alaska. So we had to get a loan to pay for the plane tickets. I ended up getting a school refund, so I was able to pay for a hotel and pay for like food and stuff. Then on top of that, he's paying for not only the plane tickets, but you got to pay for the car rentals because you still need to get from A to B and do what you need to do. And then we get to Georgia and we thinking that we're doing a good thing by getting a hotel on post because it's cheaper. That was when I looked at the damn I just did his TLE and I got to check back on there. My friend Eve, she helped me did his TLE a week ago because he apparently tried to do it and they just kept denying it. So I was like, let me try to do it and let's see what happened because the only thing we got repaid back for was the plane tickets. That's all my husband got paid back for was the plane tickets. And that was like, I think 4,000 and something dollars, almost five. So that's all we've gotten back from that move from Alaska. And it's January of 2026 and we've been here since January of 2025, so a whole year, and all he's gotten back is $5,000 pretty much. So I did the TLE. That hotel stay was like 120 a night. 120 a night. So think about this. He was spending 120. We were in that hotel for almost 2 months. So it's 120 a night. Don't even add the fact of that we're paying for food and paying for a rental car as well. So he could get back into from work every day and turn in whatever paperwork and stuff that he needed to do because at the time we didn't know anybody on post to really help. Like any friends that we had before, everybody done moved, either got out the army or done PCS somewhere else or live off post. So we didn't have no friends or nobody to help us on post, help him get to A and B. It was a little bit different in Alaska because he actually had a friend at Fort Wainwright that got there in June and we got there in November, and he ended up leaving out of town to for the holidays, so he let my husband got his car for the 2 weeks that he was gone. And so we were able to save at least 2 weeks of not trying to pay money for a rental because we actually had a friend that was nice enough to help. Here, we didn't have nobody to help. So we basically is spending the money out of our own pocket for a rental until they delivered the Flex to us to drive. It was a lot. And it took months for us. We still haven't 1000% got over that move because we still have that loan that we're still paying to this day. And think about it, when we first got here, I didn't have a job. So we had to do this all on one income. And then our income tax go to getting what we need for the house, trying to get things hooked up and paying some money on that loan that we had. And then not to mention when we did get paid back, we didn't get all our money back. So you have to always think about that when you're dealing with the PCS. You're probably not gonna get all of your money back. It's like a con. I swear, I feel like sometimes the military be conning you. Have you spent all of this money, and then when it's time for you to get your money back, you barely get back the amount that you spent. We still haven't gotten paid for that hotel. I'm going to be checking on that, by the way, probably tomorrow. I'm gonna like have my husband log to his sub and see like what's going on with it and why haven't he gotten his funds yet? Like what's going on? Like I straight up be feeling like PCS and be a scam. They do not help you like they say they will. And some people actually do get lucky enough to where they don't have to spend so much money. Some people actually do get lucky. We did not get lucky at all. We did not get lucky this time around. I will say maybe the first time when we came from Bragg and came here, it wasn't as bad. But that Akonis going to Alaska and coming back, I feel like we got screwed real hard both times. Like, no, the fact that with PCS and sometimes you still be in debt, and it's kind of like it's a ever going circle when you're dealing with PCSing because your PCS. So the first year you're in debt. You get to your duty station, you're in debt. You spend a whole year paying off the debt. And then about a year and a half in, you're back financially to where you need to be, right? And then next thing you know, it's time for you to PCS again. So you're thinking that you're doing something, you're thinking that you're being smart this time around and you try to put money into savings. You're like, I'm gonna put this to the side for hotels and food. And then crazy stuff always starts to happen. And then you end up using all the monies that you have on your credit cards, your savings, because certain situations just start to happen. And then you may have to get a loan. And then you're right back where you started. It's like a PCSing to me is very like a ever ending circle of just going in debt, paying it off, and then doing it again. PCSing is like stressful. I told Shannon the next duty station he go to will be a duty station that he can drive to. I refuse to do a CONUS or anything that is probably like across the United States. Like I would never go to California. No, I'm not about to spend the plane ticket money or basically drive. No. I told him our next duty station needs to be Florida because I do like the weather and I would love to stay close to Universal Studios and Disney World because I'm tired of paying these high plane tickets every year. I just went to Disney. And when I tell you, I felt like going to Disney was an income tax check. It was so expensive. I what was crazy in 2021 I went to Universal Studios and it wasn't that bad. Went to Disney in September. When I tell you we came back broker than broke, yeah, I would not be going to Disney anytime soon. I will definitely plan to go to Disney maybe next year. After a whole year of planning, I'll do it. So yeah, but definitely Florida. I would even go back to Bragg. I don't care. I actually liked it there. Granted, it's dangerous as hell, but I actually liked it there. And I still have friends there that I had, from years ago that I still talk to. So I definitely wouldn't mind going there. But as far as moving somewhere very far, like Italy or Germany, I would never do that with a family. That's just my personal opinion. I'll never do that with a family. I would suggest, honestly, when it comes to PCSing, if you can drive and you have the strength, especially if you have multiple children or if you have pets, if you have the strength, the mental strength to drive hours somewhere, I say do it because paying for a rental car is so much money. It's so much money. And plane tickets are not getting no cheaper. Plane tickets are expensive. You pretty much be paying $200 for a plane ticket. Like it don't even matter if you It a plane ticket now is super expensive, so like $200. If you can drive, please drive. If you can possibly like have friends or family that stays close by to where you're going, please stay with them. We didn't have that opportunity. We didn't have nobody, really close by that we could stay with. Well, kind of we did. We did have my friend that we could have stayed with, and they offered, but me and my husband are very, I don't know, weird black people. Yeah, we're weird black people. Because you know how some of us are, we're like, we just would rather, we feel like if we stay with someone that we are a burden to them. That's just how most black people think. We feel like if we stay with people that we're a burden to them, so we would rather just tough it out on our own. And that's what me and my husband did, which led us to like drown financially. But I would say if you have like family close by, definitely stay with them. If you have good friends that you can stay with, definitely do that, because the hotels on post are not cheap. They may be cheaper than the ones off post, but they're still not cheap. You're still going to drown financially paying for hotels. Definitely, it sounds crazy to be like, um, just save money a year before PCS. Just save money in general if you can. If you get to a point financially where you can save money, do it. Because granted, saving, if you know you're gonna go to a duty station a year prior or months prior and you're saving money, it's still not gonna be enough. It's still not gonna be enough. You're still gonna possibly have to use the GTC card. And to be honest, they don't even be giving you enough, to be honest. When you first get your limit, it's really not enough. The extensions my husband had to get when we went to Alaska, because funny part, going to Alaska, they gave him $7,000. The tickets were five. So 5,000 was already gone. That's another thing the military needs to work out. Why are you giving people GTC cards to pay for plane tickets? Why are you not just directly paying for the plane tickets? They need to change that. Directly pay for the plane tickets. Why are you giving people GTC cards to pay for plane tickets, and then they have to get all the receipts back to get their money back? That's a freaking scam. Just pay for the tickets outright and give them to the families. And then the GTC card could be used for hotel stays and food. And another thing, the military does not pay for rental cars. That's a scam. Why not? So how do you expect these people to get from A to B if you're not paying for rental cars? That makes no sense. You want these soldiers to get to work, but you're not paying for rental cars. Because when we were in Alaska, my husband, the hotels on post was actually full, so we couldn't even stay on post at the hotel. We had to stay on the hotel that was off post, and he had to drive on post every single day. And at the moments when we couldn't afford a rental car, his friend lived off post and was nice enough to like pick him up and take him to work, and then pick him up and take him back home. One day, um, I think my husband had like CQ or something, and or staff duty, CQ, one of them. And the friend overslept and didn't hear the calls. My husband got somebody to drop him off at the front gate. They dropped him off at the fucking front gate, and he had to walk to the hotel, and it was like negative 35 degrees. He was in pain when he got back. Yes, in pain. So yeah, they need to work that out. We're at least paying for a rental car. Like they need to put that in. Like, yes, the military needs to change the rules. Pay for the rental cars, which that still baffles me. That still baffles me to this day. But yeah, definitely plan ahead as much as you can. It's really hard with the military to plan ahead because you really can't. Because anything could happen, orders can change at like the blink of an eye. So you really can't plan, but you have to try. PCS and is like PCS season is stressful. And not only is it stressful on the service member us spouses, it's stressful as hell to us because we're the ones that's mostly our spouses are dealing, with the work part of it and trying to get their paperwork in and figure stuff out. But we trying to deal with the kids and what we're gonna do to them, trying to get them in school, out of school. It's a lot. It's stressful. And I will tell you, every PCS, well, I will tell you the other ones were okay, but the one, two, and from Alaska, oh, me and my husband, we hated each other. We were bitchy the whole time because when I tell you everything that could go wrong when your PCS goes wrong. And we hated each other the whole time because everything that went wrong could go wrong. And then we're in a financial hole the entire time. It was bad. I don't even it I have PTSD. I literally have PTSD to where I probably don't want to PCS again anytime soon. And we've only been here for a year. And 2 years will fly by before you know it. 2 years will fly by before you know it. And it will be time to go somewhere else. And not gonna lie, I'm not ready. Even with the situation now, like we've been in this house, we're off post, we've been in this house for a year. We got to pack up in a few weeks to move on post. And I don't even want to do that. And then that means once we do that, we're only going to be on post for 2 years. Like I said, those 2 years are going to fly by. And then it's time to pack up and go somewhere else. I don't want to do that, like, at all. PCSing is like the worst time ever. Literally, it's the worst time ever. But the only positive things I can give you about PCS and is that you get to meet some wonderful people and you get to go to different places and experience new culture, new faces, new places. But that's the only thing I can give you. If I had to put PCS on a scale from 1 to 10 of how bad it is, a 9. I'm gonna have to give you a 9. I've had more badness happen with PCS than I've had positive, to be honest. And the fact that you have to really get yourself together a year financially after PCS is crazy. Super crazy. But I'm hoping that this video and my little story time was informative to you guys of what not to do. And if you have never PCS, some of the things that could happen. Hopefully, not the negative. Hopefully, just positive things when you PCS. I hope just positive things because trust me, you're going to be in for a journey. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave comments. I love comments. I love questions because as you can see, I am a talker. But thank you guys for watching. Bye.